And if we're talking to medical professionals, we'd be talking about a 46 cent in a dollar tax rate. So close enough to half your money disappears into tax. But if we have those structures that we've talked about before, with the family trusts and the company structures all linked in together, then 30% should be our maximum tax rate. But if we're, and I say maximum because we've got within the family trust, if we can distribute income to different members of the family on lower incomes, lower tax brackets, than 30%, then we'd utilise that. So, but we just make sure we never pay more than 30%. So yes, making wealth would mean that we pay more tax, but we make sure that we don't pay as much tax as if we would in our own personal names if you're a medical professional.
Right. It's just that I thought, if I'm going to go through all the trouble of getting the right investment and I've got the right tax structure and I've done everything to guard myself in regards to doing the right thing, and I know from my doctor himself and most of the people that I speak with that are clients of mine that are in the actual game themselves, they really don't have time to look at these things, and there's not really much room for error, is there?
No, they're extraordinary time poor, and one of the disadvantages of their high incomes is often that they think their performance is pretty good. Because if you start out with $1 million, you know, it's the old saying, you know, how do you create a small fortune? Just start with a big one, and then work back from there. So it's one of the issues that sometimes they get a little bit, well, they're busy, as you mentioned, so they haven't necessarily got the time to look at all this stuff and put in the research they need to, because they're busy doing their thing. So as a consequence, they can't pay the attention to it, and if they see a result that's sort of, in terms of, it's a big number and it's doing okay, you know, if they see a yield of 4 and 5%, that sort of thing, they think, oh well, that's sort of what people get, and unfortunately people do get that, but you should be able to get a lot better than that.
Right.
Now, you know, the difference between 4% and 6%, if we put that over the life of someone's life or life of an asset, it makes a huge difference.
Right. So effectively, what we're looking at is that the general sort of purchase that's out there that hasn't been really researched, that would probably give you that 4 or 5% return. That realistically really wouldn't be enough for me, really. I mean, I'd be wanting something a little bit more exclusive, especially if I don't have the time to do the research.
Well, if you've got the opportunity to invest larger amounts of money, you should expect larger returns. And it's not, I think it's a fallacy that people talk about. If you get bigger returns, it's a higher risk. It's not necessarily the case. It's not necessarily the case. So you can actually get higher returns, but actually have more risk protection, more stability.